It's time for today's travel and cruise industry news. With the latest from travel and cruises around the world, here's your host, Chillie Falls.
Good morning. Welcome to Travel and Cruise Industry News on this, the 28th day of December, 2022, a Wednesday, coming to you from Bedford County, Virginia, Central Virginia area. Got a couple stories this morning. A millionth passenger sailed from Galveston in 2022. That's quite a milestone. Port Canaveral takes the top homeport. Carnival boat takes the top feature on a cruise. And no reason given for Norwegian Dawn's cancellation at the last minute. And a lot more live here at 11 o'clock this morning. Today, folks, is National Chocolate Candy Day. I suppose everybody has some chocolate left somewhere in the house. Go find some and have some chocolate candy. If you're listening via the via the podcast, welcome aboard. You can access the podcast all times via my blog, which is accessadventure.net, or wherever you get your podcasts from. All the big guys, iHeartRadio, Podchaser, Pandora, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts. Just search for Travel and Cruise Industry News, and up pops the Fat Travel Guy. Anytime that I may be showing pictures or clips of my travels or travels of some of the Chillie Cruises family, you can always access the video feed. Just go to the description of the podcast and click on the video feed, and that'll take you right over. You can come back to the podcast. Let's see what we have this morning. This is just a brief note and a kind of a teaser. That would be the view from Elizabeth on Location's apartment back toward Sydney Harbor. Looks like we're going to be broadcasting from that location on New Year's Eve. New Year's Eve, Sydney town. So we're going to do a live broadcast somewhere around that time, which will be approximately 8 a.m. My time here in the eastern United States, which will be midnight over there in Sydney. So we're going to bring in the new year with Elizabeth, and then we will continue on and hopefully have some other guests from around the world as New Year's dawns in the various locations. Hopefully it'll be a fun day, evening. So you might just want to keep checking in and see what's happening. And always, folks, this show is being brought to you by my friends at Scoot Around and Wheel Power Chairs. They are the reason I'm able to do what I do. If it wasn't for them, I couldn't do what I do. So, and I hope to keep doing what I do. And that's going on as many cruises as I can possibly go on. And then broadcast this program to you from locations around the world. So I'll be back with a couple of news stories right after a quick word from one of our network sponsors. Only me can screw it up in the middle of a program, but I do it all the time. All right, top story. Little congratulations are due to a rapidly growing cruise port. The Port of Galveston has welcomed more than 1 million cruise passengers in 2022. The lucky 1 millionth guest set sail last week aboard Royal Caribbean's Adventure of the Seas, one of my favorite ships, on a 4-night holiday itinerary. Dallas resident Kathy Wade and her family were honored as the city's 1 millionth cruise guest by the Port of Galveston with a collection of gifts and a short ceremony to mark the occasion. "This is our 6th cruise this year," Wade said. "We love to cruise. We love Royal. We've been on Adventure of the Sea several times. Balloons and fanfare greeted the family with fun gifts for everyone to enjoy. Various port officials were on hand with their congratulations." Galveston is now the 4th busiest port in the U.S. and the 9th busiest port in the world. And those numbers could well go up this year. Be a little more difficult for Galveston to take over the number 3 spot. That would be Fort Lauderdale. But clearly it's the 9th busiest port in the world. That's well within its reach with the expansion that Galveston's had. So congratulations both to the Wades and to Galveston. A million passengers, that's serious stuff, folks. I sailed out of Galveston my first time this year, and I will definitely be going back. I'm looking at a couple possibilities currently. I'm still being a little on the conservative side and trying to catch my bargains, but I'm not going to be waiting too much longer. Speaking of busy ports, Port Canaveral got the Cruise Hive Ship Award again, the annual event recognizing the best in the industry, and the Cruise Hive readers voted Port Canaveral as the best home port. This year, Port Canaveral came out on top, earning 24% of the votes. It's the 3rd year in a row that Port Canaveral has taken the top spot, followed closely by Miami and Fort Lauderdale. Congratulations to Port Canaveral. And another win for Carnival. Carnival Cruise Line's Bolt Ultimate Sea Coaster has been voted the best cruise ship feature in the Ship Awards. The thrill ride garnered more votes than adventure activities on ships operated by competing cruise lines like Royal Caribbean and Norwegian. For the 2nd year in a row, the Bolt roller coaster, currently featured on 2 Carnival ships, Mardi Gras and Carnival Celebration, received the top votes in Cruise Hive's annual Cruise Ship Awards. The ride won the same award last year. The thrill ride that lets guests soar 187 feet above the sea reaches speeds of 40 miles an hour, netted 41.16% of the votes, coming in ahead of 2nd place Royal Caribbean's Ultimate Abyss and Norwegian Cruise Line's Go-Karts. Obviously, all of those do well to be voted that highly. So congratulations to all of them. Here's a little bit of a sticky story, folks. A cruise ship suspended its visit to Tanyo Bay Port in Puerto Plata on Sunday. The reason is still unknown. Norwegian Dawn had thousands of visitors on board between passengers and crew, and they canceled the arrival. And no statement from the company as to why. So up to this point, there's been no authority or port administration that have offered any details about the cancellation of the visit. Something wrong with the ship? Was there a huge outbreak on board that we don't know about? Was there problems getting into Tano Bay? Tano Bay and Amber Cove are cruise terminals operate in Puerto Plata, Dominican Republic. Both have projected in their calendars of operations to receive 60 cruises during the current month. I guess that means there'll only be 59 now. I get aggravated at cruise lines, and it's not just Norwegian. They all do it, where they're just not transparent. They don't say, okay, you got a problem. We're big boys and girls. Tell us what the problem is. We can get along fine knowing things rather than leaving everybody hanging. And then you think the worst. It's just frustrating. All right. Let's go over and see who is in the chat room. I am still coughing. Not as bad, but I still got the tickle. And every now and then, it just have no control. But I don't feel bad. So I haven't heard back from the doctor today on all the blood work they did yesterday. So I'm sure I'll get a call from him sometime this morning. Hot Air Tom's with us. Hi, Hot Air Tom. Mike's here. Mike, good to see you again. Sonny's with us down in Mississippi. Cindy's here. Cindy, do you feel a day older today? Just asking. Cindy's birthday was yesterday. Talking about the Sydney time difference, there was a funny post on a Princess group this morning. Someone posted they are flying to Sydney on January 26th from the West Coast and wanted to know where she would be on December 27th. She was upset she didn't get a 27th and wanted to know. Wait a minute, I lost the bottom of that comment. I wanted to know why everyone else gets a January 27th. Yeah, well, that happens. I mean, it goes the other way too. If you're coming home, you get it added back on. But yeah, it is an unusual set of circumstances, and that's what Elizabeth and I have been had to hammer out. Her midnight when she'll be celebrating New Year's Eve in Sydney is 8 a.m. my time. So, we will be on the air with Elizabeth live before 8 o'clock in the morning to do the little countdown thingy in Sydney. So anyway, we'll have some fun with it during the day and evening. Hopefully I'll be able to get some other folks to give us a bit of their time on New Year's Eve as well. That'll be fun. Robert's with us. Good morning, Robert. Good to hear a Chillie rant. Well, that wasn't much of a rant. But yeah, I get aggravated sometimes. And that wasn't aimed at Norwegian. That's aimed at all of them. Be transparent, for God's sakes. Unbelievable. Robert says, for sure. Thanks, guys. I'm going to quit ranting. My nose is going to grow too. I'm feeling older, but one day closer to my next cruise. Well, now, see, that's putting the right spin on it, Cindy. Absolutely. I'm one day closer to my next cruise. The problem is, the doctor tells me, he says, don't get antsy. This cough is going to last forever. He says, you're going to be sick and tired of this cough before it goes away. I said, well, bullshit on that. Excuse my French. That's what I said. But anyway, there's Kenneth with us up in Pennsylvania. Hi, Kenneth. And we've been lucky here. We had some brutally cold weather, but we didn't get any snow, ice, a little ice. And that was because it rained a lot and stuff froze. Of course, now I did have frozen pipes for about 36 hours. So far, so good. We didn't have anything burst when it thawed out, at least yet. But we got water back now, so that's everything's good. It's supposed to go up to like 50 today. I did not talk to Nanook of the North, John, this morning to see how his weather was today. It's normally awful. And of course, he has to run back and forth from the beet farm into the pot store. At least that's what I call him. Out in the cold. Well, I don't know if he's using his little electric car to do that or if he goes into something heavier. Probably something heavier up there. A little electric car is, even with him in it, might get blown away. And there's winds up there. It gets pretty brutal up there on the Canadian border. When you do a back-to-back on the Legion, how does it work? Do you have to get off the ship or not? Yes. That has nothing to do with the cruise line. That's totally up to the TSA folks. But they make you, the people that are doing the second half, the back-to-back, the way it's done on most of the ships that I've been on, have to meet in one location. And you have to get all the people that are staying. If there's 35 people staying for the next cruise, you have to have all 35 of them there. And then they march you like little tin soldiers down to the damn check-in, off the ship. In most, especially the ports that use photo recognition now, you walk up to the camera, it takes your picture in 2 seconds, it says, good, and you go back on. I mean, it's the biggest waste of time in the world. There should be a way to streamline that. Like, what about taking the photo recognition camera up to the ship and let people just come on the ship to a deck and do that? It would be a lot simpler than marching everybody downstairs and marching everybody back. Yeah, unfortunately, everybody that does a back-to-back has to do that at this point. Now, most of the time, if you're staying in the same cabin, you don't have to take your crap with you. You just leave it in the room and come back to it. Hot Air says it depends on each port and customs process. Some will come on the ship. Okay, that's good. I haven't had one to come on the ship yet. All the ones that I've done, I had to go off. You just meet at a central place. On the back-to-back last June, we did customs at the prior port, Bar Harbor. So when we got to Boston, nothing was needed. Oh, okay, that's cool. They actually piggybacked it to another port. I like that. I am picture Chillie marching, singing, hi-ho, hi-ho. It's off to work we go. Yeah, and of course, I'm the one that's complaining about having to do all this extra walking. Of course, I'm on my scooter and telling people how tired I am from all this extra walking that they're making me do. But that's my folks at Scooter Out. They allow me to do that. By the way, folks, if you got any cruises coming up, call Scooter Out for any of your mobility needs. It doesn't have to be a cruise. Let's say you're going someplace you're going to be in a hotel for 3 or 4 days. I'm going to be in a hotel in New Orleans for 3 days before my next cruise, as a matter of fact. One phone call. The scooter will be waiting for me in the hotel, so I'll be able to, run around the hotel or go out to eat or whatever, which I couldn't do if I didn't have the scooter. So, yeah, it works just like the cruise ship does. They're going to take it to me at the hotel. They'll pick it up when I get on the Uber to go to the port for the cruise, and I'll have another scooter that I'll get on. I mean, if it was close enough, I could just keep the same scooter and ride it over to the port, but then I'd have to deal with my suitcase and stuff, which that would suck. So yeah, they were perfectly happy with doing it that way. So I'm actually going to have two scooters, one at the hotel, and then I'll get to the port and get the one for the cruise. Blaine's with us. Hey, passing your favorite resting spot, Orangeburg, South Carolina. Good for you, Blaine. I stayed in Orangeburg, South Carolina this year more than any other place because it seemed like I hit it most of the time both ways. I'm about halfway from here to wherever I'm going in Florida. So it's a good spot. Scoot around needs a trailer. Yeah, I know. I do need to do that. I do need to. Jason had medical procedures last couple of days, so he should be back at it today. So I'll confer with him and see what he thinks we should do now. So, and also I want to talk to the scoot around folks about, and I know this next cruise I've got a scooter, but maybe the one after that will set up to have a chair so I can really compare, what it's like to use a scooter and to use a chair and which one I like better, because I have no idea. I've never used a wheelchair at all other than being pushed on board the ship, and those are crappy, too small, broken down wheelchairs that the cruise lines have. So Chillie's Cruise is not that kind of a trailer, one to hold your luggage. Oh, I need a trailer. I got you now. Yeah, a little cart to pull. Yeah, with my suitcase in it. Yeah, no. No carts. I gave up carts when I quit running the John Deere. Done. Never again will I use a cart. So, Chillie can't wait to see you in New Orleans. Hopefully dinner before, but I'm afraid there will be many events to choose from. Yeah, that's probably true, Blaine. I'm going in 3 days ahead of time, so I will have some time there in New Orleans, and then I'm going to stay one night after the cruise down on Bourbon Street. But we'll get together. We'll get together somewhere in all of that. I promise you. And I'm really looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to actually being able to press flesh with a lot of you folks that I know from online. So, Sonny said, would love to see you, Chillie and Blaine, before the ship too. Yeah, we can do that. I will make myself available. Find out wherever you guys are, and see if we got a central location, or if we can do something. Chillie, when you go to like Rome or Italy, how hard is it to get used to their money so you know how much you get back? They accept American money. Well, yeah, you just have to think through everything you're doing. And all the most every place is American money's good. I use American money wherever I can. And I realize that costs me some. But if I'm going to be in a country for a good length of time where I need to exchange dollars for lira or European dollars or whatever, pounds, then yeah, it can be a little dicey. But you You just have to think your way through it. And I find most people, especially in Europe, they're not out to screw you. So if they realize that you're having trouble with the money, they'll help you. I don't have any problem with that at all. So, especially when it's something that's so totally foreign to us, and our dollars and cents. And of course, we have a tendency to think that our currency is the only currency in the world, and that's certainly not the case. It's certainly different when you're dealing with pesos. It's different when you're dealing with, pounds and all that stuff in the UK, lira in Italy. But, most people are pretty helpful with that. Euros are easy in Italy. When I went in September, it was an almost even exchange, and you can exchange by machines at hotels, credit cards also, with no international fees. That's good to know. Hot Air says, I normally use a credit card and they automatically do the conversions. So best to know the exchange rate and compare to the card charge. Yep. Again, it's never been, for me, that big an issue. Now, I'm generally, like, when I've been in Europe for any length of time in the past, I was usually in a situation where I knew what I was going to need and was able to take care of it ahead of time. But I mean, still, if you're traveling in Europe, there can be changes. Of course, now you've got the euros that, we didn't used to have, a long time ago when I first started going to Europe. But yeah, it's just something that you have to watch for. Watch Mexico. They are not so honest. Yeah, well, Mexico is a little different set of circumstances than Europe. Of course, most places in Mexico would rather take the American dollar, and they'll tell you what, they'll give you a price in dollars, and you go from there. I am very careful. I would rather have cash in Mexico. Like when I go out to lunch with, say, Elizabeth, or like, Cindy and her family went out to lunch, and we had lunch and we had drinks, and I had some other people came in for more drinks. I would rather have the cash on me to pay the bill in cash than use my credit cards, because in credit cards, you do have to deal with the exchange rates, and that can fluctuate. So, yeah, I prefer dealing with in cash when I can, any time that I'm overseas. So, yeah, that's just my personal feelings. The other thing, some people struggle with math and trying to calculate things, and that just comes naturally to me. So, if the exchange rate is 125, I can flip that in my head without even thinking. So, all right, guys, that's going to wrap me up for today. What's today? Today is Wednesday. Yes. Tomorrow's Thursday. That's the oxygen delivery day, which could happen during the show, which that'll be okay if it does. He just comes in and delivers my oxygen tanks. So, and then Friday we'll do the normal show, and then New Year's Eve we're going to be going. I don't know. We might be on all the time New Year's Eve. Who knows what I'm going to do, how I'm going to do it? But yeah, we'll be doing something for New Year's Eve, starting with Elizabeth on location in Sydney, Australia, and I think that's cool as hell. So, all right, guys, that's going to do me for today. As always, you know the drill. Stay safe, stay healthy, think about cruising, and hopefully one day soon we'll all get together on the high seas. Have a fantastic day, guys. See you tomorrow, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Later, y'all.
I regularly post videos on all facets of the travel and cruise industry, so if you like to keep up with the latest in cruise ships, ports of call, cruises themselves, Chillie chats, and travel and cruise industry news, just hit the little subscribe button in the lower right-hand corner, hit the bell notification so you'll be notified when a new video is up or we go live. This video was produced by Chillie's Cruises.